Oh boy, another excellent day. What is up, everybody? It's me, Mr. Mac Daddy X, and I want to talk about a couple things today. Like, I want to talk about competition in general. I want to talk about esports a little bit, and just gaming in general. I have a special guest here, who says that she wants a gamer name too. And so what I'd like for you guys to do, since she doesn't have a gamer name yet, and we already know that New School the dog is, he knows what's up about video games. But as far as this pooch is concerned, this is I believe the breed is King Spaniel. And say hi. Say hi. Say hi to all the internet people. Yeah. And she says, hey, I want to be a part of this thing too. What is this thing that you got going on here, Mac Daddy X? I want to be a part of this gaming, man. Can't be playing all these video games and beating people down in front of me and you know, not letting me get involved. And so I want you guys to give me a bunch of suggestions about what her gamer name will be, so that if I get a very special you know, accessibility type of gaming pad for the dog to play on, then she'll become famous too. Isn't that right? And so there you go. Okay, so let me see. Let me talk about some esports stuff real quick. And let's talk about just competition behavior in general, what gamers do. I feel like in the last, I'll say like couple of weeks or so, you know, my skill level, because of the lack of amount of gaming that I've been doing, I haven't been playing as much. So I feel like I'm on the decline a bit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not in my prime like I was, I'll say December, like the fall of last year in Tekken 6, I was probably at my prime and was also doing well in other games I was playing at the time. But lately here, I have just been in this slump. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about against like intermediate players. I'm talking about like against pretty good players, well-known players and stuff like that. I've been losing. I've been losing bad. And my thoughts on that and competition and how that relates to esports is, I think that everybody has their slumps. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody has those times where, you know, you're not playing like you know you should be playing. You know what I'm saying? And certain people react differently to that. You know what I'm saying? I think that pros probably handle that better when they lose, but if you have some kind of like local sensation and all he does is post videos of him playing online, I think that people, they take it personally when they lose. They feel like it's a knock on their reputation if they lose, and they get all bent out of shape, worried about people, you know, putting them on blast and posting videos of them losing. I have a message for you guys if you're like that, and my message is chill. Don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I know you want video footage too. Okay, fine. Can you see us both? Are you happy now? No, I don't play that. But I feel like part of the problem is like maturity. Like in esports, if you're the consummate professional, whether it be in StarCraft or whether it be in fighting games or whether it be in whatever, you should be prepared to face anything. You should be prepared if people try to cheese you. You should be prepared if people like throw you a million times or whatever it is that you complain about. You know, for me, I complain a little bit about throws and juggles if they're used cheesily, but really, I don't worry about any of that. And here's the reason why. It's because a professional, you have to understand, no matter how good you are, even if you're recognized as the best player in the world, you know what I'm saying, you're going to face people that cheese you or that do things to beat you, and it doesn't matter as long as it's within the realms of the rules in the game, and no referee or judge jumps out and says you can't do that. They're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so you shouldn't get all bent out of shape losing any certain way. The reason why I'm bringing all this stuff up is because I feel like you know, lately I've been playing against players who, and you know, I'm pretty composed when I play. Whether I win or lose, I'll send you out a GG or whatever, or maybe nothing at all. I don't take stuff personal like that. But I've been up against players who do take it personal because they've lost for some reason. Usually it's I beat somebody in some way, and you know, they're sending me hate mail. You know what I'm saying? They're sending me mail like, you know, all you did the entire match was juggle using King's Knee, or all you did the whole match was throw, as if, you know, 100% of my damage against you was throw damage. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a really immature, childish way to go about how you're training, which is what you're doing. If you're playing Tekken Tag 2 or Tekken 6 or whatever you're playing online, you're just training, because online isn't legit anyway. Offline tournaments, when you're actually competing for money, is something to be taken seriously. But even at that level, when you're playing at the highest level there, people are going to do things that you don't like anyway. So you shouldn't complain. That's what I'm getting to. As far as being the consummate professional and as far as being a competitor, no matter what kind of stuff people do, there's all kinds of shenanigans people do online. Don't let that intimidate you at all. Just keep playing and say GG when you lose. Good game. Literally. And that's being sportsmanlike. That's conduct that is good for you. I'm not just saying that because it's good for your image or what everybody else thinks of you. What's good for your growth in esports is to learn how to take a loss, dude. You see what I'm saying? Learn how to take a loss. Learn how to be humbled because you're not the best in the world, and even if you were, you'd still lose. I mean, it comes down to that. A lot of people have all this ego when they play online or whatever. You have to understand, the best players in any venue, whether it's not just in video games, the best players in sports, the best players in, rulers of a country, whatever, everybody loses. And everybody loses in a way where you have to decide how you're going to be when you lose, whether you lose to someone that you respect or not. How are you going to behave? And I feel like that's important and valid in esports, because as esports gets bigger, you're going to have to think about what your part in esports is, how you're going to behave if you become somebody who has the skills that's enough where you start winning and you're in the public eye more and all of that stuff. And so, yeah, my thoughts are you should be more like, don't try to act like Mike Tyson did, because it's like, Mike, and I say that because, early on in his prime, I mean, he started off kind of sportsmanlike, but then he kind of fell back into old ways, and he is never given his full credit. You know what I'm saying? He was a hell of a fighter in boxing, but he's when people talk about Muhammad Ali, they're like, Muhammad Ali is the best boxer that ever lived. He would have figured out a way to beat Prime Tyson. They don't give Tyson his props just because of how he was, how he acted. If you always try to put out this negative behavior and always try to cock an attitude or whatever it's going to be, people are never going to give you the respect that you deserve if you really are, a champion, if you really have the skills to do what it's going to take. Take, for example, the opposite side of that, like a Michael Jordan, who, he's had his faults, he's done his things, behind the referee's back. He's won in ways that, anybody's guess is, whether it's legit or not, but he still maintained that public image, and he still maintained a positive aura about him so that everybody respects him and acknowledges him as the best basketball player of all time. It has to do with your personality. It has to do with, what I'm saying? It's more, have you ever heard the phrase, it takes more to be a king than just wearing a crown? So just because you've won a championship here and there and you might have these skills, if you don't have the attitude that goes along with being a champion, ain't nobody going to give you no respect. You're not going to ever get to that elevated point where, here comes the advertising deals, here comes, all the business and all of the stuff that makes you more money because families respect you, because they want you to be the role model for their kids, because, all the stuff that comes with being just more than somebody who everybody thinks is the best. You have to actually carry yourself the right way too. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not going to be number one in anyone else's mind ever. You might have been really legitimately the best. I think about Mike Tyson because I personally think in his prime, Tyson could have beat a prime Ali or a prime anybody else. But it doesn't matter because of his attitude back then. Maybe he's different now, but back then, people didn't give him the respect. And as soon as he had that one loss, what I'm saying? The first loss came around to Buster Douglas. People just didn't respect him the same. You see what I'm saying? And that's a shame. I feel like that's a shame. I feel like if your attitude is right, it won't matter if you win or lose, because life isn't about winning or losing all the time. Sure, you win as much as you can in life, but everybody loses. You know what I'm saying? I think about, it's like if your attitude isn't right, you're never going to reach that higher level. You know what I'm saying? You have to be on point in your training. If someone beats you in a way that you don't like, you have to go back and prepare for it so that the next time you can do better. You have to be on point with your training, on point with your research and education. You know what I'm saying? When you're playing these games online and stuff, go look and see what other players are doing. Realize that the best in the world, the tournament pros, do these moves that you hate, that you just lost to. And you shouldn't be sitting here thinking, well, it's okay for me to be cheesed by somebody who I should respect. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to send hate mail to everybody I don't respect. In Street Fighter, if you're not Daigo, then I don't want you doing ume uppercuts on me. What kind of mess is that? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to contribute to esports? That's what this whole thing's about. This whole thing's about what is your personal contribution to you know, something bigger than just your performance or yourself or whatever it is you're trying to do. If you're just a YouTube sensation and you know you never plan to be anything else but that, you should still carry yourself in the way where esports, as it's growing, puts you in the position where you can monopolize off it. You can't do that with a negative attitude. You know, I think about look at somebody in something else different than video games. Okay, like mixed martial arts. Look at like Fedor Emelianenko. Okay, look at his behavior, look at his attitude, and for so long so many people thought he was the best in the world and were willing to give him that title, even though in 2005 he was in his prime. You know, but Fedor, even he lost. You know, and as soon as he lost, because of this image and because of the media and because everybody thought he was the best in the world because of his undefeated record, as soon as he lost, he loses all respect. You know what I'm saying? It's a darn shame. So no matter how hard you try, you'll still lose eventually. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has a perfect record of 100% once they get into the pros. You know, if you're competing online in say Tekken, you know, once you get past, say, it's much more, 1,000 wins is really too early. That's like a rookie thing. Once you get past around 3,000 wins, trust me, nobody that hasn't cheated is going to have a 100% win ratio, because somebody will always, it's too many dice rolls. If you keep fighting, you will lose eventually. Nobody is a master. All we can do is try to be close to that. You can try to get close to mastery. Mastery is the only perfection. It's 100%. You can get closer and closer. Maybe you'll reach 99.9% one day. But, you know, likely you won't. So don't get all bent out of shape if you lose. Even if you lose to some scrub that's doing the same thing over and over again. It happens to me all the time. And, like, lately, the last couple of weeks, I've been losing to everything. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't get me down. Not at all. Maybe I'm too mature or too old for that. But everybody should. It shouldn't matter what age you are. I don't care whether you're watching this and you're 8 years old, 13 years old, you know, you're a young gunner, 21 years old, attended some tournaments. I don't care who you think you are. You should have a good attitude and behavior, because that is the real path that you have to walk to actually reach respect. You see what I'm saying? To reach number one, for people to actually give you that, you have to walk the right path. If you don't, you know, you'll kind of always be in the shadow of someone who did it right. You'll always be number two no matter how good you are. And that sucks. Why even put in all the work if you're only going to be number two? You know, if you can't learn to be a consummate professional in something, then you're never going to reach that point, the pinnacle that you probably deserve. If you've, you know what I'm saying, if you are making the right decisions in games and stuff like that. I mean, I could go on and on about this stuff. Think about other sports, like in tennis, the difference between, say, John McEnroe, you know what I'm saying, who is just a hothead, versus Arthur Ashe. Okay, Arthur Ashe, you know, one of those early guys playing tennis back, you know, right after the major civil rights movements. There were cats in the stands yelling, you know, I hate you, you black bastard, why don't you go back to Africa? People throwing eggshells and tomatoes down on the tennis court while he was playing. Do you want to know what Arthur Ashe's response to it was after he beat a white guy, his opponents? He was beating white people, okay? He was a black guy, okay, after the civil rights movement, and you know how tensions were back in the day, right? After he beat his opponent, he would walk up to him, say, good game, shake their hand, and leave. That was it. All you heard from him, no matter how much hatred, no matter what was being said to him, was good game. Wow, win or lose, but most of the time he won. Think about that versus, you know, a crybaby like John McEnroe, where every time a referee shouts something out that he doesn't like, he goes, you know, ballistic, you know what I'm saying, in tennis, starts throwing his tennis rackets around, breaking his tennis racket. You know, basically what Serena Williams did to that line judge, you know, a couple years back or whatever it was. You know, John McEnroe had that terrible, you know, pissy attitude all the time, and he'll never get respect as number one because of that. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's something to think about. And you can look at other sports and realize it's the same thing here in esports. You know what I'm saying? Esports is growing, and I wish nothing from the best of it. Hopefully we can all find our ways to be pioneers in it. But, you know, you should never have so much hatred and so much negativity around you. You know, nobody likes to lose. You know, but you should never be so far gone that you can't just say good game and keep it moving, because that's going to stunt your growth, son. You know, that's probably the biggest the biggest deal about this whole competition thing. It will stunt your growth because you're going to be so worried about winning and losing. You're not spending enough time in practice mode. You're not paying attention and watching footage about what you did wrong. You're just mad because you lost. You don't deserve to be number one. So that's my message to everybody out there. You know, this is a bigger thing, probably even bigger than just one person, bigger than you. You know, make your contribution something special to esports. You know, be positive. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm sure you agree. Don't you agree? She agrees. He's like, Mac, everything you said was gold. You know what I'm saying? Just be positive, because that's the path. There's many paths that you walk in life when you have a goal. Trust me, I'm a former champion in the past. You know, in billiards. When I was competing in billiards, there were all kinds of dudes talking all kinds of trash. You know, and I had to rely on not just my talents and skills to win. I had to rely on God. And ultimately, I came back #1 with the championship. You know, I encourage you guys to do the same. You know, I've been a champion in video games too, but, you know, to be a champion, you have to have the right attitude, because even if you win, let's say you win once, but you suck, nobody likes you, you know what I'm saying? If nobody likes you when you win, you're still going to manage to somehow fade away, no matter how good your skills were, because nobody likes you. You know, be a proud champion. If you actually attain any kind of success in anything in life, be somebody that is humble, you know, not somebody that's conceited, and you'll go very far. All right, so that's my message to you guys. Hope you guys digest that. You know, stop sending hate mail to people all the time. You know what I'm saying? You can be mad over a loss no matter what it is, but learn to just say GG and move on. Say bye. Say bye. Say bye.